Hi everybody, it's me Julie, your traveling trivet and pampered chef consultant. It's time for another Throwback Thursday recipe of the week. When I sit here and do my Throwback Thursdays, I love to pour myself a vintage cocktail. However, I don't think this is very vintage. It's a Moscow Mule in a vintage glass. Does that count? Tastes yummy. Anyway, so this week, going to read from Betty Crocker's cookbook for boys and girls. I am not exactly sure where I got this. I probably got it at a garage sale, but I love it. Look at those graphics. The book is from 1957. And Betty Crocker, did you know, was not a real person. She was a marketing campaign. I mean, back in 1957. But Betty Crocker, our marketing campaign, was ahead of her time. This is a book for boys and girls. And in part of it here, they have little introductions to the different sections. And when Betty Crocker was born, she was born in 1921 in a mill to the Washburn Crosby Company, which later became General Mills. And I think I read somewhere that she was invented by a man, but that could be, I could be wrong. I was looking for that before here and I couldn't find it. Anyway, so in her book, she has different tips for the cook, and I picked out what she had to say about dinner for the boys and girls that are reading this book. It says, dinner. Dinner is a sociable meal of the day when all the families sit down together and tell what's happened at school, work, and at play. You can make dinner more than just another meal if you learn to practice the arts of the dinner table. Take pride in the table. For happy family meals, set the table just as carefully and attractively as you would for company. Always use pretty centerpiece, even if it's only a little pot of ivy from the windowsill or a figurine off the cupboard shelf. I can imagine moms read this as, don't touch that, don't touch that. And here is my favorite part of this one page. Care about etiquette and good manners. When you have good manners, people like you better and enjoy having you around. That is so true. I think I'm going to take a picture of this and put it on my personal Facebook wall. There's a reason for all the rules, to show consideration and thoughtfulness for others and make meal times a pleasure. Good manners are not something to put on for company, but should be part of us. They are like walking and talking and all the other skills. Once we learn them, they just come naturally. I have a few people I'm going to send this book to. No, I like it. I'm going to keep it myself. Make dinner a fun time. Start a game of table topics. Each member of the family has a turn choosing the topic, and all tell everything they know about it. Everyone may be challenged, so you will keep the dictionary or encyclopedia handy. Well, I don't think I'll be doing that for dinner, but this whole good manners thing, I think we need another lesson on it. Pretty much everybody does. So what I've picked out to read to you from Betty Crocker's 1957 Cooking for Boys and Girls, Cookbook for Boys and Girls, is Meatloaf. And I never was much of a meatloaf fan. You know, I just never really, I don't like ketchup. You know, I'm a little weird, but I don't like ketchup. And most people put ketchup on top of their meatloaf. My husband makes a really good meatloaf on the Traeger. So it's a smoked meatloaf, and then he puts I don't know what he puts in it. I should probably ask him. I know it's not ketchup. I've seen everything on the counter. It's not ketchup. Anyway, so I chose meatloaf. This is what they're teaching boys and girls to cook. It says meatloaf. And look at the way this is laid out. It's a little backwards because of the camera, but it's really laid out easy for the kids to read. Heat oven to 350. Combine and bowl. 3 slices soft bread broken into pieces, 1 cup of milk, 1 egg, 1 1/4 teaspoons of salt, 1/4 cup minced onions, 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire. I always call it Wishy sauce. and says stir together thoroughly. And then the next section says mix in 1.5 pounds of ground beef or meatloaf mixture. I wonder if that's something they used to sell in the grocery stores. I don't think I've ever seen a meatloaf mixture. Form into loaf and place in a 9-inch loaf pan. Bake for 1 hour, 6 to 8 servings. And this was a really fun part here. So that's the recipe for basic meatloaf for the boys and girls. They also say that dinner from the garden. This is their menu to go with the meatloaf. Buttered new potatoes, sliced tomatoes and cucumbers, and strawberry shortcake. And then they give a recipe page number. But check this out. Things you can do with your meatloaf. These are things you can do with your meatloaf. Hot topper. Spread 3 tablespoons ketchup or chili sauce over the loaf before baking. Ugh. Tuck away. When forming a loaf, tuck 3 hard cooked eggs along the center. Frosted. When the loaf is baked, frost the top with mashed potatoes, sprinkle with paprika, and broil until golden. And then we got the baby beefies. These sound good. Shape meatloaf mixture into 8 small loaves and lay in a shallow pan. Top each baby loaf with thin slice of onion. Bake 350 for 1 hour. Now that one, the frosted and the baby beefies sound really good. And then they have a quote from one of the kids that was in their test kitchen. We'll do this book again. There's a whole section about the test kitchen. It said, meatloaf that's left over makes the most wonderful sandwich. And that is what Becky had to say in 1957. Anyway, what do you think? Good, bad, or ugly? Is that good? I love meatloaf. Cook me a loaf of meatloaf. I'll eat it any day. Bad? Well, I don't really like meatloaf, but my phone's fallen. I just noticed that. I don't really like meatloaf, but so no thank you. You have it all yourself. Or ugly. Oh my God. Send that to 1957 and make those kids eat it because I'm not eating it. What do you think? And one of the other things I like to do, as usual, is show you something from Pampered Chef that would have been perfect. Is our stoneware loaf pan. I actually have made meatloaf in the oven. What I love about this pan is I've made meatloaf in it and I've made bread in it. And I made sweet bread in it and I've made savory bread in it. And it cleans up nicely and it does not transfer flavor, which is awesome. Because when I did the meatloaf, it was it was a little bit fatty. Anyway, tell me what you think, and I will see you next week for another episode of Throwback Thursday. Y'all have a nice weekend.